What's going on, everybody? If y'all enjoyed the video that we posted about support and resistance lines, then you will really enjoy this video we're about to talk about today, because we're going to take that to another level. Today, we're going to talk about what trend lines are and how you can use them or combine them with everything else we've taught to give yourself a trading edge and know when there is a strong either support line or a very strong resistance line. So I want y'all to sit back, relax, learn something, and let's get started. All right, so first up, we're on Thinkorswim, and we're going to use their platform to analyze a position. I have a great example right now, which is ULCC, Frontier Group Holdings, and I have the year-to-date chart. So this is over the course of a year how the stock has moved. So trend lines in themselves are exactly what they sound like. They identify a trend. What I mean by that is a trend either in the upward or downward direction. What happens is you'll find a stock will hit a low, then it'll hit a high, and then it'll pull back and hit another low. But this low is actually higher than this low, and then it'll run up again. And sometimes it'll make a higher high, sometimes it won't. But if it pulls back and it still makes higher lows, then you have a strong trend line in the bullish direction. So you can kind of see it right here, but let me show you how you can exactly utilize this to give yourself a trading edge and know when it's a good time to get in or get out. So when you go to your drawing tools here, you actually draw a red line right here. And we're going to go ahead and try to get as close to this bottom wick as we can right here. And we're going to try to line everything up. And actually we're just going to line up this low right here. So you see what we did here. Let me go to my pointer real quick. We drew our line here, and then we lined it up with this low right here. And funny enough, the third time it came back to touch this line that we just drew, it found this trend line and identified it as a bullish trend. And actually, if we zoom in, you can see where it went up, it went back down, it almost touched this line again, and now it looks like it's continuing in the upward direction. So how do we utilize this as a trader or an investor? Well, these give you good entry points when to get into a trade. All right, these tell you that this is a great time to get in, but sometimes there's not always black and white. Sometimes you got to factor in several other identifiers to make sure it's a good time. What's the option flow? If you want to see the option flow, you can check out the link description below. I'll take you to TradeUI and you can read it for yourself. Is there insider activity going on? Is there a certain setup that's identified that we look at as bullish or bearish? All these things are very important to us. But what we need to do is a simple little trick we can do here is let's go ahead and use what we learned in the other videos and draw a support and resistance line. So a good support line, we can draw a couple of them. We'll draw this one right here. Let's see what's going on with it. There it goes. All right. So that's a good support line here. You see I have 1, 2, 3. Hit it again here. It actually starts our trend here. All right. So it looks like it had a little support right here at one time. So remember, that's our next resistance line, right? So let's draw this one out here. And look what happened. We're around a major resistance line that became a new support. And look, it was verified that's a new support. And it happens to follow this trend. That is such a bullish indicator right there. When a support line is on a trend line, that tells you that that is a good position and a good payout will be coming. All right, so let's do it one more time. Where's the stock price right here on this trend line? Look how it lines up perfectly with a lot of support lines that were in the past. So I'm just going to draw it up right here. So look how it lined up perfectly here. It was a resistance line for this move right here. You can see it kind of went up, went down, then broke through. So it wasn't a strong point, but it's a point we need to notice. It was a very strong resistance point here. See how it broke through, went up, rejected the price, then went down. And look right here how it was a support line at one point. So these three lines I these three lines that I drew, sorry about that, over the course of the year chart identifies 3 great entry points for this stock. But now you might be thinking, well, Lane, when's the best time to get out of a position on this? Well, you have 2 different ways. You can either target a new support zone. So in this case, we could actually have targeted right here. So let me draw my line real quick. If you want to be a little shorter term on the trade, you could have targeted right here and got a nice 10% move because it went from 11 to 12. That's roughly 10%. Maybe a little bit lower depending on the actual setup. Let's see, why isn't that drawn? Uh-oh, let me fix that real quick, guys. Hey, not everybody's perfect, right? Oh, let's see here. There we go. All right. So you can see it's roughly right here, because you can see there's actually some resistance right up here. And then let's see, yep, that lines up pretty good right here, here, and here. So it's actually technically it's at a take profit point now. However, there's also another thing that we can utilize. Remember when we talked about collecting that theta and selling puts? Well, if you sell puts on a trend line and you use the trend line itself on where you entered as your actual put level, what I mean by that is we sell the 11 put. As long as that price is going in that direction, that's a awesome profit situation you're in on an actual option contract, because as long as it stays above 11, we don't care how far up it goes or how far below it goes, you'll be collecting that time decay and making a nice profit. If you're in on a stock, you can actually utilize the trend line as a stop loss. What I mean by that is the second that this price breaks through this trend line that we have right here, let's see, this one right here, as soon as it breaks through this blue line, we can say, you know what, that's a bad trade, time to get out. Or you could have made a nice little 8 to 10% profit here. Me personally, I'm in this trade and I'm going to be targeting this line right here, which is a new resistance line. But as you can see right here, for a little while, it was a support line. So now when it broke down, it's a new resistance line. Remember guys, if you're bullish, resistance lines are your targets. Support lines are your entries. And if you have it where the trend line happens to coincide with the support line, that is a very bullish indicator to see an explosive move to the upside. Guys, I hope you really learned something from this video. There are several different charts you can utilize to draw trend lines. If you did enjoy it, click the link in the description below, take you to TradeUI. It'll give yourself a trading edge and give yourself a list of stock charts that will actually be useful in identifying upward trends. We also have an awesome Discord that you can look at where we post new trade content all the time. And if you're not necessarily a trader, but you know someone who wants to be, share this video with them. Let's really blow this up and let's make everybody a better trader or a better investor, because on the long-term chart, these are actually tools that investors need to utilize as well, because you always hear the term buy the dip. You have a dip here, you had a dip here, and you had a dip here. And all these dips lined up with an ascending trend line, which is very bullish. Guys, we're going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it and have a great night.